By the time Alex Eala stepped out onto center court for her fourth-round showdown at Wimbledon, an unexpected phenomenon was already unfolding across the internet. The video of her best moments against Iga Swiatek had racked up 1.2 million views on the official Wimbledon YouTube channel. That figure was over double the traffic pulled in by videos of Novak Djokovic. It was also more than twice the views generated by clips of Serena Williams. An outcome like that contradicts everything we expect. Djokovic holds 24 Grand Slam singles trophies, while Serena retired with 23. These individuals transcend tennis. They are global icons of modern sport. Their identities are deeply intertwined with decades of unmatched success, immense pressure, sports history, and worldwide fame. Yet, during one remarkable week at Wimbledon, it was a 21-year-old player from the Philippines, seeded 29th, whose video captivated the public's attention. The core puzzle extends far beyond how Alex Eala managed to defeat Iga Swiatek. The true mystery is why the online world responded with such immense enthusiasm. What drove people to view the clip? What made them watch until the end? Why did they feel compelled to share it? And how did a fresh narrative manage to outpace two of the most celebrated names in the history of the sport? Most observers still assume that established celebrity status dictates everything on social media. They believe the most recognizable name always draws the highest numbers, the greatest legacy commands the most attention, and the ultimate superstar secures the most viral clip. However, this particular moment demonstrated a shift in that dynamic. While fame remains important online, it does not always trigger the most powerful emotional response. Occasionally, an entirely new narrative takes the lead. There are times when an audience does not need another reminder of an established legend. Instead, viewers want to experience the thrill of discovering an emerging talent before the rest of the world notices. That sense of discovery is exactly what Alex Eala delivered. She provided a genuine shock, an unprecedented achievement for her home country, and a deeply moving post-match reaction. That emotional resonance is what caused the video to spread so rapidly. To comprehend those view counts, you have to appreciate the significance of that specific moment. Prior to her breakthrough performance in Miami in 2025, Eala occupied a world ranking around number 140. Life at that level of professional tennis is a unique experience. You are close enough to the top to maintain your faith, skilled enough to push elite opponents to their limits, and confident enough to sense that a major milestone is within reach. Yet, outside of dedicated tennis enthusiasts, your name remains largely unfamiliar to the general public. You are not the player everyday sports fans search for online, your image does not anchor the tournament promotional materials, and the sports world isn't anticipating your next move. You are still working hard just to be noticed. The tournament in Miami shifted that narrative. Eala proved she could triumph over elite competitors, securing a victory against Iga Swiatek during that event. She demonstrated to the global tennis community that her journey was far more than just an inspiring underdog tale. It was a reflection of her true capabilities. However, a major victory introduces an even tougher challenge, proving you can replicate that success. That very expectation followed her all the way to Wimbledon, where the sport handed her the grandest stage available: center court. Standing across the net was Iga Swiatek, the reigning Wimbledon title holder and a six-time Grand Slam champion. She is a competitor who excels at making massive stadiums feel incredibly intimidating for her opponents. For Eala, the match featured every element that could easily cause a young athlete to freeze under pressure. The venue was immense, her opponent was highly decorated, the spectators fully grasped the stakes, and the intensity did not build gradually. It hit her the moment the opening set got underway. That opening set transformed into the kind of intense battle that prevents anyone from looking away. It was not a straightforward or predictable tiebreak. It ended up at 11-9. With Eala saving 2 set points while facing immense pressure from a reigning champion. It featured a young contender who simply refused to back down. This created a flawless narrative arc for the audience. Intense pressure, immense danger, prolonged tension, and ultimate relief. Every single exchange offered the crowd another reason to stay glued to the screen. Each long rally made the final outcome feel far more significant, and every saved point sent a clear signal to the platform's algorithm that viewers were fully locked in, refusing to skip ahead as they waited to see who would prevail. Ultimately, Eala secured the tiebreak by a score of 11-9. That specific outcome was meaningful not because it was seamless, but because it showed she refused to be intimidated by the gravity of the occasion. She did not play tentatively or merely hope for her opponent to make mistakes. Instead, she took the initiative, relied on her instincts, and leaned directly into the high-stakes environment rather than shrinking away from it. Next came the second set, which is precisely the moment where many young athletes lose their focus. After winning a highly emotional opening set and sensing a massive upset within reach, it is easy to start envisioning the post-match headlines before the final point is secured. Eala avoided that trap entirely. She maintained her forward momentum, kept her unforced errors to a minimum, and wrapped up the second set with a commanding 6-2 scoreline. With the match completed, the reigning champion was eliminated, and the young athlete from the Philippines had earned her spot in the fourth round at Wimbledon. On its own, that result was significant enough to attract the attention of dedicated tennis followers. However, the match outcome alone does not fully explain why the footage expanded so far past the traditional boundaries of the sport. While countless impressive sports highlights accumulate views, far fewer inspire people to pass them along to others, which highlights a fundamental distinction in online behavior. Clicking on a link is driven by curiosity, whereas sharing a video is driven by an emotional connection. Clicking is simply asking what occurred, while sharing is an invitation for someone else to experience the feeling. Eala managed to evoke both responses. The intense tiebreak sparked initial curiosity, but it was her post-match interview that truly connected with people. After her victory, she did not rely on rehearsed, corporate answers designed to protect a public image. She avoided focusing purely on match strategy, and she didn't lead with discussions about ranking adjustments, financial rewards, or the immense stress of the tournament. Instead, she looked back at her early childhood days, reflecting on ruffled socks, flashing footwear, and her younger self. She spoke fondly of being a little girl in the Philippines, practicing late into the afternoon alongside her brother and grandfather. That candid reflection completely transformed the nature of the video. In an instant, it shifted from being a mere sporting upset into a deeply relatable human experience. A young competitor had just overcome one of the absolute best tennis players on earth, yet her immediate reaction was to honor the child who first dreamed of that exact moment. That is precisely the kind of heartfelt detail that viewers feel compelled to forward to family and friends. It is something a parent can deeply appreciate, a young competitor can look up to, and a Filipino sports fan can view with immense pride. Even a casual observer with no understanding of professional tennis rankings can find meaning in it, because everyone understands the beauty of a dream that starts from humble beginnings. We all know what it feels like to look back and realize that the younger version of ourselves would be absolutely amazed by where we stand today. That emotional depth is what allowed the moment to transcend tennis, requiring no specialized knowledge of the sport, only human empathy. Legends like Djokovic and Serena signify established greatness, whereas Alex Eala came to embody the thrill of a new discovery. That distinction is crucial. Established greatness commands deep respect for a video, but the excitement of discovery is what inspires people to share it with others. When Djokovic secures a victory, the public is deeply impressed, though rarely astonished. Likewise, when Serena features in a Wimbledon video, people naturally pay attention because they are already well aware of her monumental legacy. Eala offered something entirely different. To a broad audience of casual viewers, she was a completely fresh face. She was representing a homeland that rarely sees its athletes reach the upper echelons of professional tennis. She went toe-to-toe with the reigning champion and emerged victorious. That sequence provided the video with elements that established stardom cannot always guarantee: genuine surprise, immediate urgency, and profound emotion. It gave viewers the distinct impression that they were witnessing the very beginning of a brand new journey. The role of the Philippines cannot be overlooked when analyzing these metrics. For numerous nations, tennis history is filled with familiar, celebrated figures. However, for the Philippines, this particular milestone carried an entirely different weight. Eala advancing to the fourth round of a Grand Slam tournament was far more than an individual milestone. It was an unprecedented national achievement. Unprecedented milestones trigger a distinct reaction on digital platforms. A historic first offers a community a collective reason to celebrate, prompts people to mention their friends in the comments, and elevates a sports highlight into a major national celebration. That is an energy that Djokovic and Serena can no longer generate in quite the same manner. This isn't a reflection of their significance, they remain absolute titans of the sport, but rather a consequence of the fact that their incredible success is already a matter of record. Their supporters have already experienced and celebrated those crowning achievements over many years. While another spectacular highlight from an established legend will certainly gather views, it rarely carries the exhilarating feeling of watching history unfold in real time. For Eala, nearly every major step forward right now possesses that exact quality. It is the story of a Filipino athlete reaching uncharted territory, a young competitor advancing her nation's flag further into the tournament bracket, and a rising star inspiring an entire population to say, "This belongs to us." That sentiment carries immense power, explaining why the video resonated far beyond what standard celebrity metrics would suggest. This phenomenon does not mean Eala commands greater global fame than Djokovic or Serena, because she does not. Rather, it highlights that her specific journey felt far more immediate and captivating during that particular week. While celebrity status captures initial attention and novelty sparks human curiosity, true emotion prompts people to share content, and a historic national milestone gives a global community a central point to unite around. Eala uniquely brought all four elements together. That combination explains why the final view count appeared so extraordinary. It wasn't the result of a single isolated cause, but rather a perfect alignment of factors. It combined an incredibly tense match, an exceptionally candid interview, an intensely devoted fanbase, and a truly historic breakthrough. When those components converge, a piece of video content can travel significantly further than name recognition alone would ever dictate. This dynamic illustrates why digital video metrics are frequently misinterpreted. A total view count reveals much more than just who is currently famous. It reflects what the public felt was meaningful enough to pass along to others. Certain videos accumulate views simply because the featured athlete is already a household name. Conversely, other videos experience explosive growth because the audience feels they are uncovering an exciting new talent. Eala represented that second category, and the experience of discovering someone new is a highly compelling feeling. People enjoy being ahead of the curve, sharing a clip before it goes completely mainstream, and feeling like they are part of the initial wave of support. This explains why emerging athletes can occasionally surpass established legends in online engagement. It may not happen indefinitely or in every instance, but under the right circumstances and with the right narrative, the digital world often prioritizes the thrill of discovery over a familiar legacy. That is precisely what took place at Wimbledon. A competitor who remained unfamiliar to many everyday sports fans delivered a performance that felt incredibly vibrant, deeply moving, and historic. The intensity of the match caught people's attention mid-scroll, the sincerity of her interview formed an emotional connection, the people of the Philippines provided a powerful sense of community, and the sport of tennis witnessed a fresh talent rise above the daily noise. That is the fundamental reason her video surpassed clips featuring Djokovic and Serena. It did not happen because Eala matches their global celebrity status, which she does not, nor does a single viral highlight signal an immediate changing of the guard. Instead, it happened because, in that specific window of time, her narrative possessed qualities that the legend's videos lacked. A sense of the new, an element of surprise, profound feeling, and a historic first. That potent mix can overshadow established celebrity for a period, which is why her upcoming path is so compelling. A single viral video represents a standalone moment, but replicating that success 2 or 3 times begins to establish a definitive trend. Eala is now preparing for the North American hardcourt tournaments, with upcoming events in Washington, D.C., and the looming excitement of the U.S. Open on the horizon. That transition introduces a completely fresh setting, a different demographic of spectators, and an entirely new set of demands. The crowds in North America might not share the same deep-seated emotional investment as her compatriots back home. Some viewers may only recognize her from that singular Wimbledon video. Others might simply know her as the player who managed to defeat Swiatek, and many will be encountering her journey for the very first time. This reality makes her next phase incredibly compelling to watch. Can this narrative capture the public's imagination once again when presented to a completely new audience? Can Eala deliver another standout performance that compels people to pause their digital scrolling? Can the emotional momentum surrounding her journey persist beyond the unique, enchanting environment of center court? We are on the verge of discovering those answers. Significant breakthroughs do more than just inflate online statistics. They actively cultivate a lasting following. They elevate an athlete from being recognized solely by hardcore tennis enthusiasts to being familiar to everyday sports fans. They inspire viewers to actively seek out their next scheduled appearance and ensure their name feels recognizable long before the next tournament even gets underway. That is precisely why her performance at Wimbledon carried such profound meaning. It functioned as far more than a standard collection of match highlights. It served as an introduction. A vast audience stepped through that door and discovered Alex Eala for the first time, ensuring that as she moves forward, her next chapter will not be starting from anonymity. Consequently, when you observe a young competitor outperforming the icons of the sport on digital platforms, look beyond the question of who has the larger existing fanbase and evaluate what the video actually offered its viewers. Did it catch them off guard? Did it hold their focus completely? Did it resonate with them on a human level? Did it offer an entire community a collective reason to celebrate? When it came to Alex Eala, the answer to every single one of those questions was an undeniable yes. A high-stakes tiebreak commanded the public's attention, a fond childhood recollection forged a genuine connection, a historic milestone for the Philippines mobilized an entire nation, and an emerging athlete gave casual observers the thrilling sensation of watching a new era begin. That represents something far greater than a temporary viral trend. It serves as a direct challenge to the traditional assumption that established fame is the sole driver of public attention. In the digital landscape, the most famous individual does not always evoke the deepest human connection. Quite often, the freshest narrative captures the moment. For one memorable week at Wimbledon, Alex Eala possessed the most captivating story in the world of tennis, and the true test now is seeing how far her next chapter can go.